Good morning, and welcome back to Saturday Morning Switch. As this goes live, we're in the middle of the second weekend of the Arms Global Testpunch, an open beta of sorts for Nintendo's newest IP, set to launch June 16th. As such, I'm now one of the many people who've had a chance to give the game a whirl, so this week I'm going to be talking about my thoughts and opinions on it from the first week of test punching. For those out of the loop, Arms is a fighting game, where you punch people. A lot. Your fists are attached to you by elastic springs, which you bend and loop around to land blows which hurt and stun your opponents until you're the last man standing. There are several control schemes depending on how you enjoy playing with your Switch, but the one the game champions, called the thumbs up grip, has you holding the controls vertically with your thumbs on the shoulder buttons. You throw a punch, so is your fighter. You can curve your blows mid-swing, tilt the Joy-Cons to move and block, and use the shoulder buttons to jump and dash. There's a few more commands, but nothing akin to the complex input sequences seen elsewhere in the genre. Battling itself is about as simple when you strip it all down. A block will stop regular punches and let you charge out your fists for elemental attacks, but a throw, performed by punching with both hands at the same time, will break your guard. But going for a throw leaves you exposed to regular punches, and so on. While on paper that sounds great, the execution isn't quite as precise. But maybe not in the way you're imagining? The motion control scheme does make sense, from arcing your hands to loop a boomerang fist, to tilting the Joy-Cons together as if you were actually crossing your arms. But in the heat of the moment, as often happens in fighting games, there's a tendency for the move you wanted to not be the one that actually happens. The most common one is blocking, with the game regularly interpreting it as a throw or some other movement. Rapid 1-2s also often get misread as a throw, or trying to move forward as punches. Maybe this is partially from the fact I was sitting down to play this, giving me a naturally decreased range of arm motion. But I don't play games in a large open space, so it's not exactly something I can fix. Switching to button controls doesn't sound appealing either, as there's a lot less nuance to swings in an analog setting than there is with your own body movements. There's other nitpicks I can make too. Close range fighting sucks, often becoming a flail fest. Some mechanics, like arm health, feel tacked on, with no easy way to gorge yourself or your opponent. Charging feels equally redundant at times, the elemental power is a cheap way to differentiate between otherwise identical arms. Your effective combat range is another tough one to wrap your head around, and considering how long it can take for a swing to come back, not something you want to be worrying about mid-brawl. The big one though is targeting, something very obvious in the game's 3 and 4 player modes. Arms doesn't even bother to teach you that you can switch targets, something critically important for these modes, and the button command is slightly out of the way on the standard scheme, sitting on the D-pad. This makes it all too easy to be swinging in totally the wrong direction, something compounded by never being able to turn the fighter lock on off. Disengaging so you can dodge a bomb or pick up an item is sorely missed at points, and this ended up being one of my major sticking points, at least in the test punch. Despite those annoyances though, there is a lot to like about Arms. Rushes, the game's equivalent of specials, are satisfying to perform, as you flail like mad to land a stream of blows. The items that drop during battle, giving you areas that will boost your health or special meter, or if it's a bomb, damage you, help to force confrontations and provide strategic opportunities. Knocking a bomb into your opponent's face is satisfying, but one false move and you'll be the one taking the tumble. I especially enjoyed the variety of game modes too. While standard one-on-one fights are the most common, there's also 3 and 4 way brawls, and tag team matches where you're tied to your partner, making throws all the more dangerous. Volleyball, or b-ball as it's called, helped to break things up too, though I swear sometimes the ball would hit the ground and not register it. There's more modes to come too, such as Hoops, which is a basketball style game featuring in this second weekend of test punching. I've less to say on stage design, though I don't mean that negatively. Only a few showed up, from temple steps to a trampoline lined arena to Helix's laboratory. The latter is the only one that really affected my style of play, with 6 big test tubes around the arena able to block a few punches before shattering, providing temporary shelter. I was more impressed by how stages are presented in the lobby to be honest, though maybe that's just me being me. Lobbies! These worked flawlessly. Not once did I have a connection issue, which I imagine is down to the way they work. Up to 8 players can be in one lobby, and the game mixes and matches them in various fights and configurations. It helps to ensure minimal downtime, with only 1 or 2 breathers lasting longer than half a minute. Switching between fighters and arms is simple enough too, though you may be wishing for more downtime if you want to properly customise settings. Which brings us to the customisation elements of Arms. Sadly that was kept fairly minimal, for now at least. All fighters had a set of 3 unique arms, but there was no ability to mix and match beyond that. What was interesting to note was the rate of currency. You get 1 for a loss and 3 for a win. No matter what the match type was or how you performed, that's it. Staying in the lobby for a while would give you a few bonus points for streaks, but those were fairly minimal. I ended up averaging about 1 a minute, though I freely admit my win rate was only around 40%. Still, considering previous footage has shown you need 100 or so for a good shot at getting new arms, that rate feels a bit stingy. Maybe it would be easier to earn the full game, or not as expensive as I'm speculating, but it does feel a tad off-putting to know you can play for an hour and not earn much at all. In terms of the fighters themselves, there's definite variety in them, thanks to their unique special abilities. Ninjara ended up as the most popular thanks to his ability to disappear, stopping you from getting hit mid-dash, but everybody else brought something unique that helped change the course of a fight, from Springman's insane comebacks to Master Mummy being perfect for sitting in a corner during 3 or 4 man fights. Yes, I am that guy. There was no one I especially gravitated to, but with more fighters coming, including Twintel and this weekend's sessions, there's definitely someone to fit all playstyles. So, when all's said and done, is Arms worth it? Will I be buying it in a few weeks? Well, annoyingly, I'm still on the fence. On the one arm, I love the core concept. There is nothing like Arms in this genre, and it offers a fresh, interesting experience in the typical Nintendo fashion. But the flip side is that maybe there's a bit much going on. I mean, you have to process not just the usual fighting game shticks of zoning and reacting to players' specials and abilities, but also their arms choices, where their arms currently are in the fight, and where your arms currently are in the fight. And not just your in-game ones. The motion controls mean you need to be aware of the orientation and location of your actual physical real-world hands, on top of all the button inputs. And this is only magnified when there's more than 2 of you and targeting comes into the mix. And just imagine if you're playing this in tabletop mode and have to work all this out on a small screen. Combine this with controls that don't always replicate what you want, and you end up with a system that can feel overwhelming and a little unfair. Yes, some matches you will lose simply because your opponent is better than you, and can process all the data faster or in a more meaningful fashion. But some you will lose because the controls let you down, or because a piece of critical information wasn't clearly explained. I want to love Arms. I want to give myself over to it and embrace this new IP. And there's no doubt, as time passes and more content is added through the free updates, it will only get better. But right here, right now, I'd struggle to justify this as a launch day full price purchase. Thanks for watching as always. So, Nintendo Switch Online, eh? I'm surprised they've pushed it back until 2018, but happy with the cheaper price point and the implied library of titles for Classic Games Collection instead of the system they had previously outlined. Though I wouldn't be surprised if this now means Virtual Console isn't mentioned at all during E3. Speaking of which, that'll be our next video, so subscribe to know the moment that goes live, and don't forget to give this video a like and maybe even a comment. Until next time, see y'all.